This is Mr. Mark, and in this video I'm going to show you how I've been using this Google Trends Analyzer that I created to do some analysis on trends of certain keywords for the past 12 months and also the past 5 years. And I put this chart together, which I will share with you, where which I've been using to compare the averages to draw certain conclusions. So in this video I'm going to show you how I gather this data, and then I'm also going to give you my take on what the data means or what it implies based on recent events, especially the coronavirus and other events that are going on. So I am mainly into sales, so I'm mainly looking at physical, actual physical products. For one, towels, right? Sounds kind of random. I'm going to click the link, and this link that I created will automatically search Google Trends. All right. And as you can see, in the United States, which is where I am, for the past 12 months, towels, if you look, were somewhere between 25 and 50, right? And then all of a sudden we see a much higher spike on the graph of 100. Now remember, all of this is relative. These numbers are not exact. This does not mean 100 searches. This is a relative search interest relative to itself. All right, so this is just showing you how much it has changed. So as you can see, for some reason there's been a great spike, right, in towels, which is just interesting. Now one thing I do is I'll take this and I'll look at the number and I'll say it's 100. And if you're using this, all right, of course I do put the date and the name of the keyword, and update is for later. Current direction, like whether it's going up or down, I guess I would say up. I mean, it's as high as it can go. And what I'll do is I'll put the number that I see, current value for the past 12 months. All right, past 12 months, because that is the setting that I have it on right now. And current value meaning where it is right now. So right now it's at 100. Okay. And why do I care about that is because I'm going to compare that against against the average that we have had for the past 12 months. So what I could do then is download this data. So I'm going to click on this, and in Firefox you can actually open it right away in Excel. Otherwise you can download it and then open it, all right, instead. But here I can actually open the file right away, and this is all of the numerical data showing the averages, averages for search interest in towels. So what I'm going to do is take the average of the past 12 months. All right, because remember, this represents the past 12 months, and I'm going to use AutoSum average. And okay, once you do that, right away click on column B by clicking on the letter B itself, and that will take the average of that whole column. Press enter. The average is 38.8. Let's call it 39 if you round it off. I'm going to go back to Firefox. So the average search interest throughout or over the past 12 months, the overall average is 39. However, for some reason we're at 100. All right, now I didn't need to do that to see that there's a huge spike, right? I mean, obviously it's way above average right now. It's way above what it has been for the past 12 months, but it's good to have the exact numbers just if you're curious to see what they are. It really gives you an impression of how far above the average we are for the past 12 months. Now I'm going to look at the past 5 years. Okay, now I'm going to go here, select past 5 years, and okay, so here we are looking at the past 5 years. We see that it was mostly somewhere in this range most of the time. We see there was a spike here somewhere in October of 2017. But look where it is right now compared to the past 5 years, right? So that means that right now, towels are experiencing a search interest on Google that within the past 5 years, it has never had before, right? It is like way more popular than it has ever been for the past 5 years, right? So we know it's 100 right now. So again, I could put that current value of 100 here. And now if you want to get the overall average of all the data for the past 5 years, all right, you could download this data. All right, I'm going to open the file. And this is where my Google Trends Analyzer comes in. All right, so you have all this data, and I just take it, I highlight these two columns, I copy the data, and then I go to my Trends Analyzer over here, and I paste it, right click, paste values, and it will take a moment to populate. Alright, and once it does, okay, so once it populates, and again, this is the past 5 years, you can scroll down, you'll see it goes all the way from 2015, or if you page down, you'll see it goes all the way down to 2020. Okay, I'm going to go back up to the top, Control Home. But what I want to point out is that this is the overall average. This is all years combined, monthly. Alright, so in other words, it's showing you the average of January over all these 5 years, 2015 to 2020. It's showing you the averages of February of all those different years. It's showing you March, okay? But the overall average, okay, for these past 5 years is right here, the 33. So it has only had an overall average of 33, right? The average is 33, okay? But yet we're at 100. So that just shows you how far beyond how much the popularity spiked. All right, and just want to I've got to really make it clear that this does not mean that towels were not popular for the past 5 years. What this means is that towels are just way more popular right now than they ever have been for the past 5 years. It's all relative. Google Trends is relative. Okay, it's relative search interest. So it's showing you that the search interest is just like way beyond what it was within this time. All right. So I just want to make that clear. The search interest was still strong. It was strong here, but it's gone up so much that it makes the past 5 years look small or look low because right now it's so high. All right. So that's what this really means. But by having the number, it lets me see how way more popular it is. Okay, 100 compared to 33. All right, now another thing I like to look at, this last part is the month's average for the past 5 years. What I'm talking about, okay, I'm going to go back to the Trends Analyzer. What I'm saying is that right now it's April, for instance. Okay, this is showing me, as I said before, this is showing you the performance for each month for the past 5 years. So this is the average for April. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Actually, okay. April is one of the low months. Okay, the red arrow means these were the lowest values. Okay, and the green is the highest. Yellow's in the middle. So April is normally a low month. Okay, for the past 5 years, April, okay, has had a lower popularity than quite a number of other months, as you can see. So that is very significant to me because if April is normally low, all right, and all of a sudden we're at the highest we've ever been, then something unusual is going on, right? So I have the numbers and I have the data and I have the graphs, but now I have to put some reason behind it, and I have to say, why is that? How on earth, can towels be the most popular they've ever been right now in a month where they're normally the least popular? And so this is where I believe the coronavirus epidemic, which is happening right now, has something to do with this, because it is the main thing that is totally different right now than it has ever been, than things have ever been, is this epidemic that we're having, right? And the results of the epidemic, more people are at home. Okay, so I would imagine, perhaps a lot of home items have increased, right? There are different reasons, things I can speculate, but I'm, quite certain that it must have something to do with the current epidemic. Okay, so that's one phrase. Now, here's another one, and the reason why I picked these three is because they have different results. So I'm going to take a look at shirts, and here's the link again, I'm going to share this with you so you can have this as well. And when you click shirts, you're going to see quite a difference. For the past 12 months, look at the popularity was somewhere between this line and that line, right? 75 and 100. So we see that it was in its higher, the highest part of the graph. However, right now, you see a huge drop right here between within March. All right, it started to come up a little, but you see this huge dip, and you see that it's just so much lower now than it's been for the past 12 months. So the popularity has dropped. Okay, that's a 52. If you want to use this spreadsheet, you could say 52. All right, you don't always have to use everything here, the direction and all that, but I'm just going to, I just want to put the value in. So right now it's at about 52. And by the way, this can change. I mean, literally change like right now. This actual number here on the edge, because that's current. That's like right now. All right, but it's only going to change but so much. So I'm going to go ahead and use that number for now. 52 is about where it is right now. And you know, I could download the data and I could take the average, and you would see the average was probably a lot higher here and probably a lot lower here at this point. I'll go ahead and just do it quickly. I'm going to do it faster this time because I'm trying to save some time here. So, and I already demonstrated that. So now I'm going to go to average again, and I'll do average B to B, and you can see the average has been 80. The overall average for the past 12 months is 83. All right, so it's way, but again, I didn't need to do that to know. I mean, it was pretty obvious. Okay, I can look at the graph and see that for myself, right? So I don't really need to know the numbers, but it's just interesting to see. Now let's take a look at the past 5 years, because this is also very telling. If I go to past 5 years, all right, you can see that over the past 5 years, it was, you know, it goes up and down. Shirts go up and down, go up and down. They do their thing. They have a few little spikes or whatever. In December, between late November into December, Christmas time, holiday shopping. I mean, that kind of makes sense. But look where it is right now. It is so much lower than it has been for the past 5 years. All right, the search popularity. Look how much lower this point is on the graph. Look how low down it is compared to the rest of the 5 years. In fact, looking at the past 5 years, this is the first time it dipped below 50, according in relative search interest. Right, it was always above 50 here. All of a sudden, we're down below 50, and in fact, it's at this last number is at 47 right now, because it looks like it went up a little bit from wherever it was. So right now, current value for the past 5 years is 47. Now, if I want to get the overall average, I'm going to have to download this CSV, and I'm going to open the CSV. Wait for it. And this is shirts for the past 5 years. Now, one thing I'm going to do is go to my trends analyzer, and I'm going to clear the data. Now, one thing I should show you real quickly on this trends analyzer is you can record the results, which will record the top. So I'm going to click record results first, in case you want to record them. You don't have to, but you can. And that will add the towels in onto the table. And you can even delete this first one by right click, delete if you want, that empty one. Okay, so we have towels. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is just clear this data out to make room for this new data that I have coming. And okay, I'm going to take a look at shirts. So I'm going to click on the A, drag over to the B. That will select column A and B. I'm going to right click copy. Then I'm going to go back to the trends analyzer, right click on A, paste values, and wait for it to analyze and see what happens. So taking a look at shirts. All right, it seems like for April, which is where we are now, shirts are normally somewhere in the middle, 77. The overall average for the past 5 years has been 79. Shirts are usually at about 77. So shirts are usually doing well in April. Shirts usually do well in April. They do okay. They're at 77. They're not too far below, you know, the average here. Okay, it looks like they're the most popular between June and December. Okay, but they usually do all right at 77. I'm going to see how that compares to the 77 for the past 5 years. Sorry, that overall average. The overall average for the past 5 years. Let me take it a step back. The overall average for the past 5 years for shirts was 79. Okay, I hope that wasn't too confusing. The month's average, the current month of April, right now it's April, had 77 for the month's average. All right, for the past 5 years. In other words, this 77 is the normal average for April. Okay, for the past 5 years, April's had an average of 77. But look at the current value. It's 47. It's 47, right? 30% lower. I mean, so it's 30 points down from where you would expect it to be on average. Okay, so shirts are way less popular. This would tell me. Plus, I saw it here too that I'm way below this year's average, right? I dropped all the way to 52, and the average was like 83 this year. So whether I'm looking at past 12 months or looking at past 5 years, and you have to look at these separately, by the way, because these are relative results for 12 months, and then these results are relative to 5 years. Okay, it's just way less popular. Okay, and I think shirts are dropped pretty much down. I mean, current direction, that's just a little thing I do just to kind of remind me, is it going up or down? It does look like it's coming back up. You can do that as well if you want. It looks like it might actually be coming back up a little, but in general, it's going down. So it might come up a little and then just go right back down again. Now, here's another one, and I'm not going to actually do all the numbers on this one necessarily. I'll just open it and take a look and just kind of show you that. With this one, you'll see that basically it doesn't change much. Right, it hasn't changed so drastically. I mean, it was a lot more popular here, and then it kind of went down somewhere in the middle here, and then right now it's over here at 74. It doesn't look to me like it's going to be very much below or above average, right? So in fact, what I will do is actually go ahead and get the numbers. I'll just do it quickly because so this is Epsom salt, current value of 74 for the past 12 months. I'm going to download the Excel file for this. Epsom salt, and I'm going to take the average of these past 12 months. I'm just going to use my average and select B2B. So the average is 70, let's say 70.4, which could round off to 70.5, which basically makes it 71. So the overall average for the past 12 months is 71. All right, so it's actually a little bit above average, just a little. So it's just kind of like normal, right? I'm gonna go to Epsom salt again, and I'm gonna download. I'm gonna switch to the past 5 years rather. Let's take a look at the past 5 years. Okay, past 5 years. Okay, looks like it just went up and down, and we're somewhere over here. So it doesn't look like it's particularly, it just looks like it's in one of its lower points, which seems to be pretty normal from what we see here, right? It looks like it's pretty much in its normal pattern. I'll put it that way, right? I don't see any unusual pattern here right now. So right now it's at 67. And I'm going to put the 67, which is the current value. The overall average for the past 5 years. Well, now I'm going to have to download the data to do that for the past 5 years, and then I'll have to do what I did before and drop it in the yeah, I'll do that. So what I have to do is go to the trends analyzer. Sorry, there's so many files here. I'm not going to bother recording this one. I'm just going to, in fact, I will. I'll just record it, and sorry, that takes a little while. And then I'll clear this. Just get that cleared out. And I believe 13 is where I was. Okay, I'm going to take all this data, copy it, just as I did before. I'm not demonstrating right now, I'm just doing. All right. And okay, so let's take a look, right? What I see with the Epsom salt overall average for the past 5 years is 69, and from April the norm is 75. The average for the past 5 years of April, and you take again April of each year and you average them together, April's normal is 75. So we have 69, 75. Okay, let's see how that compares to this. Overall average is 70. What was it? 69. And this month's average 75. So right now it's at 67. The overall for the past 5 years is 69. So it's just a little bit below the average. It's not like drastically below. And this month, however, is normally 75. So it is a bit lower than it should be, I guess, for this month, but it's still not drastic to me. 67 versus 75. Definitely not as drastic as what we saw here, like 47 compared to 77, like way lower, or in this case, way higher than the norm, right? So this would tell me Epsom salt is pretty much just regular. You know, it's a little low. The interest is a little lower. It's lower than what it should be for this normal time of year, but it's not like really drastic. But for some reason, the interest in Epsom salt is lower. I actually experienced that. I have, eBay and Amazon stores, and I did experience not, being able to move Epsom salt, which was a product that I've been selling. Found those not moving, but found other products that are trending very high on Google are moving. So I've definitely seen that Google Trends is very telling when it comes to sales and what will move at certain times. Okay, it's very telling. So now if you don't have this Google Trends sheet, of course I'm going to give you a copy of this. I'll share a copy of this with you. But if you don't have this Google Trends Analyzer, definitely get yourself a copy. I mean, it's free. It's a tool that I created for myself that I then decided to share, and basically it takes the Google Trends data that you can download off of a Google Trends graph. All right, you take that data, you paste it, and it analyzes the data. It basically separates the months and the years out and finds the averages. So it takes all of the Aprils here of 2015, for instance, and it averages these are all April 2015. It takes these numbers, these three, averages them together, and then it follows like this: 2015 April 66 is the average of these three numbers, and so it pops it in here. Then it does the same thing for May of 2015. All right, you take all these May of 2015 numbers, it averages them together, and it pops it in here. All right, so that's basically what it does. You can record results, all right, by clicking record results button, and then it will show you the months that are below average, the months that are above the average, and these are the past 5 years of results, all right, that it's showing you, the averages for the past 5 years. And that's basically how it works. You can clear the data, add more data. I'll even record this result. So yeah, so if you don't have a copy of this, I have a video where I actually demonstrate how to use this. In this video, I was focusing more on these three different keywords that I was looking at. But on that video, you'll get more. I suppose I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video as well. And so, yeah, if you have any comments, any questions, or suggestions on this, or any comments or suggestions or questions about this, please do leave them below. And I look forward to seeing you in another video, and thanks for watching.